Welcome back to City Trends. I'm your host, George Miller. City Trends, Valley Business is our business. We have our next guest, and he's going to talk to you about graphics. But before he does that, I'm going to have him introduce himself to you and share a little bit about his company and how to get a hold of him. And then he's going to elaborate on what he offers. Thanks a lot for coming on. Really appreciate it. Could you please share with our audience what you do, how to get a hold of you?
I'm Danny Martinez. I'm the owner of Graphic Creations in Tulare, California. We're one of the more complete custom sign shops. We handle a lot of more custom work. We're a full color digital printing company first, and then we build the old standard regular vinyl type signs. We also do the vehicle graphics, vehicle wraps, half wraps. We really specialize in doing visual advertising for companies, where a lot of sign shops just do signs. We work with the companies to help them advertise their business, especially startups. We specialize with startups because we offer packages for a startup company, so that they can all get one thing in a package, which includes their vehicle, their business cards, their windows or their doors, whichever they need to help them get their business up off the ground.
That is awesome. And I'll tell you, there's an art to that wrapping, right? It's not just anybody can wrap a vehicle, because you got to line, it's almost like when you're putting wallpaper up, you got to line all the patterns up right, and then you got to have the right thing in the right area of the vehicle, so it doesn't look like it's off keel. And so I know that's not a skill set I have. I try to do a little bit around the house with that, and it's tough, and you really want a professional to do that. And that's getting more common, right? The wrapping?
Yeah, it's going to take over. It's slowly been taking over for years. When I first got into it, I've been into it for roughly about 14, 15 years. We were just doing vinyl. Now it's all graphics that have to be aligned, and they're a lot larger.
Yes, and it takes a lot of work. And you want to go to somebody that's been doing it for years. You don't want someone experimenting on your vehicle, that's for sure. And I noticed some of the bigger companies are doing that too, right? They're wrapping their vehicles.
Yeah, and that's been the biggest thing that's happening now, is we're doing a lot of like fleet stuff for companies. Now it's not just wrapping one person, when the boss's vehicle, it's wrapping a whole company's vehicle. So you're not just working on a truck or a car, you're working on a boom truck, you're working on utility vehicle, so it varies all the time. That's
awesome. And I always get excited about organizations like yours where they have a niche. They got something that they specialize in, and they're good at it, and then you kind of like own the market in your area when you have a skill set like that. And I know Tulare, that area is growing, and Bakersfield, at some point, Bakersfield and Tulare are probably going to end up like one big giant city, because it's moving forward fast. And Tulare, I remember 20, 30 years ago, it was just a bunch of fields, and now it's becoming, I don't know if they still call it a town or a city. It's essentially becoming a city now. And so, but you offer services all throughout the valley, right?
Yeah, well, we do work all the way from Tracy to Bakersfield. So we have a pretty large area, and we've done everything from working for the government to working for a private owner to working for other sign companies, where they'll come to us to produce their product for them so that we can do that. We have some of the larger companies in our area that we actually do work for, just based on the fact of the experience and the way we do things.
Great. And so how long have you been at the location that you're at now?
Our current location we've been at for 13 years.
Wow.
We established that location, and we love being where we're at, because we have access. We're centralized that way to everything. Being the Visalia is the bigger city, but we wanted to centralize to Fresno and Bakersfield. Yeah. So we actually do business in every city in between. So we centralized ourselves, and we've been able to do some things that some of the other companies won't even touch. With the advent of digital printing, some of those companies are doing it now, but they have to keep up with us.
Now, I know the bigger companies that, they have the bankroll and they can have everything done and done the way they want. But let's say there's a small startup company and they want to do something. What's some of the things you could do for somebody that's just getting started?
Usually with startup companies, we try to build a package that suits them. I worked for a company before I opened up my own company, and that was one of the things that I learned was that we needed a service in the area that benefited the startups, because Tulare, Dinuba, the surrounding cities were growing, and there was going to be a lot of startups. So when we built the company, that's what we built it for, was to build packages for them so that they could get their business cards, their flyers or postcards, which they wanted to get out to the people, or door hangers, which they wanted to go out and door hang, banners that were temporary that got attention for them, and then in the long run when they wanted to get their permanent signage put together. So we built packages for that include everything in one solid price, instead of the regular market, which will price each individual piece. And
I went through that. When I first started my consulting company, I had to get the banner from one place, cards from another. Had I known about you, I'd have just went there for the one-stop shopping. And then whenever you order things in that way, you get a better price too, right? Because you're getting everything at once, and you're going to get a better price.
Absolutely.
And then the same person's doing everything. So when you have your design on your car, and you have your design on your cards, and you have your design on your banner, it's all going to match because you're the one that's created everything for them.
Right, and that's what I try to teach the consumer, is that you need the consistency. If you're going to brand yourself, if you're going to make a logo, if you're going to do something in particular to your business, you're branding yourself. And I try to teach them what branding is, so that way they continue to do it. Because honestly, if you brand yourself, that increases your business so much.
Oh, yes. And easy way, because I teach business classes at the college, and an easy way to think of branding is think of it as your reputation. And you're establishing a reputation with the community. And what happens is after a while, they see that logo and they immediately think of your company and your organization. And the reputation that goes along with it. So branding is really important, and you want to have that branding hitting a bunch of different venues, not just handing out a business card at social gatherings. You want to have the wraps, you want to have the banners, because in marketing they talk about you have to hit people 11 different ways so they remember your organization. And so that's why you want to have a lot of different ways that you're getting the word out there, right?
Right. And you always want to be changing it so that people see it in different ways, because you're building a memory into somebody's mind. And then that way, every time they see it, they remember who you are. I mean, it's common knowledge when you see a Nike logo, when you see the McDonald's logo, when you see these big brands, that's what they've done. Mm-hmm. So we try to do that for the small guy. So while he's small, he gets very known.
And we have a couple businesses like that in the Valley that have mastered that, and you see their brand and automatically you know who they are. And so up and down the Valley, they're really capitalizing on branding, and it's great to hear that your organization. Now, if someone comes in and they're not familiar with that, you can help shepherd them through the process, right, and explain to them what branding is and how to get the word out there. And you've done this long enough that you can tell them, this is where you want to put your energy, because a lot of times new companies, and myself included, when you're starting up, you spin your wheels. And so it's good to go to somebody that's done this for a long time, and they can tell you this is what we've seen work over the years.
Yeah, because we get a lot of cross graphics happening nowadays, where because everybody has a computer, mm-hmm. so they design their own things, but in the end, it has to work. It has to work, and so when they come to me, it's been one of the things that people tell me is that. Yeah, I'm not too shy to tell you that doesn't work, mm-hmm. Because I'm wanting to grow your business, and I'm wanting to grow with your business. So it's my job to let you know and show you and teach you and let you know. Honestly, in the end, you can tell me whatever you want. I'm going to do whatever you want. Yeah. But that's what I do, and that's what I felt was missing from the industry when I was out in the industry.
Oh yeah, yeah. Some of the industries, you know, their whole thing there is to sell you. And some of you guys have been through this before. You go to a vendor or a business, and you can feel it when their whole goal is just to sell you something. Versus when you go into some places and they're like, okay, let's take a real good look at what it is that you're trying to do. And let's customize this for you so that it has the most impact for the amount that you're going to invest in this.
Yeah, and you're going to spend a lot of money going to some of those places, whereas with us, that's just part of our day. So there's setup fees at places, there's art charges at places, there's sit-down design advice charges, there's many charges. And I can tell you at our shop, we've eliminated a lot of that.
Awesome, awesome. Danny, if they want to get a hold of you, could you please share with our audience, how do they get a hold of you?
You can get a hold of me. You can find me on Facebook under Graphic Creations. You can get a hold of me by phone at 559-684-8074. And you can look me up on Facebook as Danny Martinez.
Awesome, awesome. So for all your graphic needs, get a hold of Danny. Thanks a lot, folks. We got to go to a commercial, and we'll be right back.